this intermediate time. Well, we're live.
Okay.
So here it goes, right? This is the You Are Not Alone thing. I've been doing it for 12 straight days now. I guess this makes it 13. So
That's a
we're
good
at
luck number.
yeah, we're now on day 13 out of 12. So we're doing good. And I already have tomorrow too, so that should be interesting.
Okay.
The reason that I wanted to do this in the first place is because I wanted people to realize that even if they're physically alone, they're not alone, right?
Mhm.
And that there's more to not being alone than just having somebody in your physical presence. And the reason I wanted to have this conversation with you is because we have great conversations, first of all. I have a tremendous amount of respect for you and everything that you've done in your life. And I really enjoy speaking to you. And hey, Laura.
Hi,
Um,
Laura. We were talking and we were thinking maybe she'll pop up today.
yeah, well, here she is. Laura is an avid participator. Oh, did
Yeah.
turn the sound. Oh, there we go. We're getting sounds in the background now. It wasn't a kid, but getting messages. So,
Well, I live alone, so I don't have anybody to interrupt except for
yeah.
maybe a dog, and I'm watching my neighbor's dog right now. Uh, so,
Well, your son is grown up and out of the house, and my
and my
kids are
daughter.
still, and your
Mhm.
daughter. My kids are just going through it. So, hey, Michelle
Hi,
from Delaware.
Michelle.
There you go. Oh, there you go. You forwarded on Facebook. Thank you, Laura. I appreciate you.
Cool. I
Um,
want to learn how to do all that stuff because one of the things that I've been nervous about is like I go live a lot in Facebook in my group, but I haven't been on LinkedIn. And what I used to do and what I do now are so polar opposite that a lot of my LinkedIn connections are from what I used to do, and they probably still resonate with what I do now, but it's just different. And so I haven't come on and said that. I've been a little nervous about it, but
Well, I think it's important that people see the transition, right? Like you had a true transition, right? Military to regular civilian life, and that's a transition in itself. But I think there's so many people that have gone through the military to civilian that it would really resonate with them for them to see how you're adjusting and how you're changing. Hi, Sid. I'm live, baby. You're in a diaper. Can you go see what Tommy and Shell are doing? No. Okay. It was worth a shot.
well, I'll just share
But
a little bit about me so that people know, like, yeah, your cat, good. yeah,
hey,
yeah.
Ron.
So I did 7 years active duty in the Navy after I went to the Naval Academy. And then I did the rest of the time I did in the reserves. So I have 20 years in total. And then I spent the rest of that time on as a civilian. So I retired as a civilian in May of 2019. And I was really at age 56. That was my minimum retirement age. I was really looking forward to retiring. And one of the reasons is I wanted deeper connections. And I feel like I just was always so friggin' busy. I didn't have time to have any deep connections. And that's one of the reasons I started the podcast, which your interview is coming out on January 11th. And so the Onward podcast is all about facing adversity and moving forward. But within like I don't want to cry, but within like 3 weeks of me retiring, my ex-husband, my kid's dad, got diagnosed with cancer. And then 2 weeks after that, he was paralyzed in both arms. And my daughter was supposed to be living with me. She ended up moving. My whole life was like upended after I retired. And he passed away in December of 2019. So with just 5 months or so. And that was really hard because I had shoved you talk a lot on this show about, or whatever you call it, on about feeling your feelings. Well, I was too busy to feel my feelings. I had shoved them all down to the basement, and I
Yes.
didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, you don't know until you slow down. It's you don't know what you're burying until whatever you're doing to avoid it, right? And it's not always intentional. Like being busy is not, the end of, it's not a horrible thing. Or if you're a single mother of kids, you don't know until they start moving out of the house, and then you're stuck to figure out who you are, right?
Yeah, and that's what's happened. So then COVID hits, and I can't do my escape. Just the other day, I decided I was going to buy, and I've changed my mind. I was going to buy a camper because I really wanted to go around the country and see places and everything. But then the reality of it hit, and I saw the prices of them and all that. And I also realized that was another way of escaping. I've got to get comfortable with myself in my own house.
So Laura worked with military while she was with, I believe, her husband in Germany. So,
Okay.
and no, she does not take orders well. I know Laura, but that's probably the same reason I did it, because I would have been AWOL probably day one. Just would have. And then here's Jenny.
Now, hi, Jenny.
Yep.
Yeah, the podcast is about finding your own path. Yeah.
It is. It really is, right?
It's just blue.
It's blue, yes.
Yeah, Jenny, I was doing all of that at the same time because it's so hard to see, somebody's that sick. And even if it was my ex-husband, and even if, I left because he was verbally abusive and all that, the whole time he was sick, he was really nice. And he's my kid's dad. So I spent a lot of time helping take care of him. And I miss him a lot.
It's tough, right? Like, it doesn't matter what role somebody played in your life, right? Because, like, I went through childhood abuse, right? And my mother was very, very, very short fuse and had an enormous temper. When I was 15, she got diagnosed with a chronic disease. And from that point forward, she was the nicest person on the planet because she met her own mortality, right?
Yeah.
I think we talked about that on your podcast actually a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that was right before Sid shut off the Wi-Fi.
But yeah, I need to edit that this weekend. I need to take like 5 hours to edit out all the interruptions. No big deal. I'm just
No, it was entertaining. I mean, look, that's life, right? We all
I know. I'll probably leave some of them in.
So, but like, and when I finally got sober, which was another 12 years later, I started forgiving her and I started releasing all that. And those last few years that she was alive, we actually had a relationship.
Yeah.
To the point now I actually miss her, right? And if I wouldn't have let go of the anger and I wouldn't have let go of the pain, I would have still been carrying those resentments. And it would have just eaten me alive. I probably wouldn't be alive this long. And we're getting lots of comments, actually.
We're human beings, not. I think you meant not human doings.
Maybe.
Human beings, not you.
Ex-husband.
Yeah. And it was really hard to see somebody that sick and, just paralyzed in both arms because the cancer was in his kidney cancer, but it got into his neck. And so he was paralyzed in both arms and in and out of the hospital, just seeing my daughter traumatized. And then I became executor of the estate. And so that took up all of my first year, over a year. I'm still working on it, of retirement. But, and I think one of the reasons I started the Onward Movement, the Onward Movement is all about, helping people embrace their authentic selves. And, when I retired, I didn't choose to do what everyone said I should do. I finally disobeyed orders and did what I wanted to do.
Well, but you know what it was? You found a point where you got comfortable in your own skin a little bit, right? And you wanted to embrace that, right? For the first time in your life, you were able to find your own way, because when you're in that military mindset, you don't really have that option.
No, and I've had it since 18, and even my parents, even though they weren't in the military, they were like, tough. So that's why I want to help other people. And I'm sure that there's a lot of people out there that are like me, and I don't want them to feel alone. And, when you say feel your feelings, what does that mean? It's a lot of crying.
It's a lot of crying. I fought through crying. I mean, like, this last 6 months has been brutal. Like, it's everyone, right? And I'm trying to keep up with comments, but I'm not doing a good job. It's a little complicated on StreamYard as we go here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, even the Onward Movement, right? Like, the whole purpose is to relate to others, to give them a way to get out, right? And give them a way out. And that's really what I wanted this to be about, right? Because so many people feel hopeless, and so many people feel alone and loneliness and just lonely, right? And I believe that that's partially a state of mind. I really know based on the work that I've done and where I'm at today, still 1,200 miles from anyone I've known in my whole life, right? And I'm here by myself, single father, fighting through this every day, that I don't feel alone anymore. I'm not lonely anymore. I mean, loneliness consumed me in the beginning, but it's not suffocating me anymore. And the more I connect with myself, the less I'm looking outward to have that physical face to face, or because right now it's just not the time. You know,
No.
it, what are you risking to do that, right? And what are you willing to risk to get to that point? And I'm going to get caught up in a little bit of the comments. Um, so Laura, yes, eating disorder, down to feelings, deprived things.
Yeah, my way of stuffing down my feelings was to just stay really busy. I was always busy, and I thought probably people can relate to this. Or if you're getting ready to retire and you're a busy holic and you think that you're going to stop being busy when you retire because you're going to have all this extra time and you're going to get in the best shape of your life. Oh no, I found so much. I created so much stuff for me to do that I didn't really have to do, but I thought I had to do it. So it's been work in process to slow down, and that's one of my word you had posted. What's your word for this year? I think I have two words: conscious alignment, because I'm going to say no to some opportunities that come my way because they're not aligned with. They're going to take away my time to go inward more and to learn about myself and to help others through the onward movement.
And I read about that this morning, your word, right? My word is true, because I want to be true to myself, true to everyone around me, true to everything I work on, and true to my purpose. And for me, that's something new, right? Because I just identified my core values about a month ago. I've
Mm-hmm.
never done that before in my life. And I actually
Mm-hmm.
sat down and really aligned it. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking because I want alignment, right? I want my spiritual alignment, my human alignment. I want it all aligned.
Right.
I'm big on that. I talk about my spirituality all the time. But now I'm seeing it in a different way, because I went into the core values, and the core values now that I'm moving and stepping into them, it's forcing me to be my best self. It's
Yeah.
forcing me to be my truest self. And a lot of things, like childish things or even immature things like feeling wise or anything else, those things have started disappearing because they don't fit my core values anymore. They're
Mm-hmm.
not who I am. It might have been who I was 20 years ago when I was drinking or
Mm-hmm.
doing drugs or anything else that I was doing to avoid, right? Because I mean, I went from drugs and drinking to being a workaholic to porn to strip clubs to relationships, just to try to fill the void any way I could. And then I was the world's helper. That was the self-sacrificing, right? I wanted to be the martyr. I wanted to sacrifice myself to help everyone else. And at the end of the day, I was just pouring from an empty tank, and I wasn't
Right.
truly able to help people fully because I wasn't doing it with the right intent. It's not that it was a wrong intent, because I don't think there's a wrong way to help someone, but I wasn't doing it in a way that was serving myself so that I can continue to help people in a much more productive way.
Well, and that's a lot of insight that doesn't come like that. I mean, if somebody had told me back when, I was dealing with my son, who's an alcoholic, over 4 years sober. I'm so proud of him. There's a podcast episode where I interview him. But you know, I was all trying to help him, but not realizing I needed help too, because I was staying so busy and all this other stuff. So one of the ways, I don't know if you've done this. I know I saw that you talked about gratitude. I started meditating and doing Kundalini, breath work and stuff. I could not be still and quiet for more than 15 seconds without crying.
Mm-hmm. 100%. Yeah, I meditate every single morning. I meditate numerous times a day. I center myself. I stay grounded. I
Yeah,
have
now I can do it without crying, but I mean, I'm just saying that's how messed up I was. And I was on depression meds too then. I was on, like, I don't know, 10 or 20 milligrams of the equivalent of Prozac. Now I'm off. I'm off my depression meds, and meditation and gratefulness.
gratitude's big, right? Like
Gratitude.
flipping that gratitude mindset is huge. I talk with my hands a lot, and unfortunately, the screen's not big enough to see me talk with my hands. So I keep doing it, and I'm thinking, oh, you can't see it anyway. But like gratitude is huge, and I flipped my gratitude over the last couple of weeks. I actually did something different now. What I've been doing now since I do gratitudes every day is, rather than listing things that I'm grateful for and listing circumstances, moments, situations, what I've been doing is I've been listing the horrible things that have been bothering me, things that have been negative, and what I'm doing is flipping them around to see the positive from the lessons and the pain that I'm learning from, right?
Wow.
What it's really doing is taking me to a different level because now I'm appreciating the pain and the lessons, right? And it's so important that we learn from ourselves and being self-aware. And it's difficult. I never had a clue how to do it. Never
No, me
knew.
neither. I was too busy. I don't have time to meditate.
Oh
My
God, yeah.
coach wanted me to meditate for 40 days straight. I told her, she's crazy. I got a long, this is when I was retired. I'm too busy. And so she asked, like when I meet with her, what day are you on? Well, I'm on 3. Well, what happened? Well, I got up and I've got to go do this email. I've got all this stuff I got to do. And she calls me out on it. And so once I did it like 40 days straight, it was like life changing. Now I don't
Yeah.
start my day without it.
Yeah, I have to. Like, I mean, like I told you on I think our interview, like I wake up at 4, right? So that I'm up before the kids no matter what. So that I can just get my time, right? I write, I do my gratitudes, I read a bunch of stuff, a lot of affirmations, stuff that I've written to myself too.
Mhm.
I wrote myself a love letter, right? Because like I shared, I mean, I've never said I love myself ever until I think September, August or September. So for me, that was huge. So I wrote myself a love letter and I reread it every morning to keep me in that mindset
Yeah.
so that I pay attention to where I'm at and I go through my core values. I go through affirmations, all these different things that just keep me where I need to be to start my day.
I think that's really good because the difference between what you're doing and what I've done in the past, but I'm going to do what you're doing this year, is you write out your goals for the year, you write out your affirmations, and then, after a few days, you don't look at them anymore. They got to be in your face every day, in a good way, repeating them. And then I just listened to a interview that my friend Mary Ellen Ammons did with Amanda Eller. And Amanda is Mary Ellen's friend. Amanda's the woman that about a year and a half ago got lost in the woods in Maui, and they had a search rescue for her, and she was finally rescued 17 days later. But she talked about how she started to be grateful for stuff that she wanted to happen. Like, I'm grateful for food that's going to show up. I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for that. She didn't have it yet, but that's something else, that things that we plan on and our goals, they talk about talking about it like it's already happened, and then your subconscious will go make it happen.
It's the manifestation, right? It's the power of
Mhm.
belief, having that full focus and unadulterated belief, right?
Yep.
That
Yep.
it's in your way. And Mary Ellen's amazing. I've spoken to her a bunch of times now. You introduced me to her, didn't you? I think.
I think so. And I'm
Yeah.
going to work with her. I'm going to invest in her as a coach of mine because I think so. I'm a coach, but coaches
Right.
need coaches. And people have said, if you're like investing in a coach who doesn't have a coach, that's not good. We all need coaches.
Well, I think people just need people, right? And it's deeper than the coaching thing. I mean, I love coaches. I love the coaching, that whole way that it works. And people always tell me you should be a coach, you should be this, you should be that's not who I am, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Like I'm just a friend. I'm just in your life and I'm here to help you however I can. I have my crazy ambitions, right? So my focus is on those, not on being a coach right this moment. But you're right. Coaches need coaches. Right? Michael Jordan would have never been Michael Jordan without Phil Jackson. And I say this to people all the time. You could go down as a legend, but if you didn't have somebody behind you, then you did it wrong.
Yeah.
Right. Then you're infamous, not famous. There's a big difference.
Right.
Like,
And I think you talk about what we're talking about right now is getting help. And that's something in my manifesto here. We ask for help and we help others. That's something that so many people, I love what you say about how, you love helping people, and most people love helping people. So why are you not giving them an opportunity to help you?
right. And that's the hardest thing, right? Is flipping that in your head, because when you're a helper and you want to always help everyone else, the last thing you want to do is ask for help.
Yeah.
Because then you feel like a burden. You feel like you're weak. You feel like nobody's going to respect you if you ask somebody else for help.
Or you feel like you should already have, if you're a coach or something, who are you to be coaching people? If you need help, you don't have all the answers already.
Right. And that's the thing, that this inner critic of ours just destroys us. It really tries to crush us and take us out of our element, right? And like I've now flipped that perspective also to where it's an honor for me to ask somebody else to help me because I feel honored when somebody asks me.
Yeah, I love
So,
that.
so I'm flipping that, and we have a ton of comments that I'm just not keeping up with
We'll go
because
back later and go through them.
I'm doing it on my phone, so it is at times. I appreciate it and I love the engagement, but sometimes it gets a little complicated. Especially when you're doing it from the phone. My laptop's horrible. Uh,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's so powerful, right? And I love the onward movement. I love what you're doing, and I have so much respect for it. And talk a little bit more about it. I really want that to get a chance to shine a little bit more, so that people get a better understanding of where they can find it, where they can follow it, participate in it, be a part of it.
Well, yeah. So I started the Onward podcast. I published 7 episodes on the day I retired, and that was focused on. And I'm going to get to the Onward movement and then how I'm going to meld the two together. The Onward podcast, when I first retired, was focused on facing adversity and moving forward, because I really, I've been through so much adversity in my life, and I know other people in my life that have too. So I've interviewed people on depression, on suicide, on being paralyzed. And like my roommate from the academy's daughter, Clara, she was paralyzed in a gymnastics accident at 12, and now she's on the Paralympic cycling team. I mean, just hearing those stories really motivates me. So I started the Onward podcast, and then in April of 2020, I just decided I wanted to be a coach. And so I decided, to just start this group, this community. I thought communities would be important. On Facebook is where I started it, because you can have groups and they're not, what you post, it gets to everybody in the group. It's a little better than having a page. So I started the Onward movement there, and it's got like 1,300, maybe 1,400 people in it. And I post at least twice a day, just positive things, share things, go live. Like on Monday, I'm sharing, how to take action on your intentions, not just set your intentions, but take action, and, just different things like that. I've talked about fear. I talk about judgment, and the Onward movement is all about embracing your authentic self, releasing the fear of judgment, that stupid inner critic that doesn't help us, so that you can create the life of your dreams, which is what I feel like I did when I retired and didn't do what everyone said I should do, which is to be a consultant. So the season 3 of the Onward movement, the Onward podcast, is going to start in March. And that is going to be more aligned with the Onward movement. The interviews are going to be more about authenticity, releasing fear, judgment, discovering your authentic self, and more directly impacting people. I think in the interviews that I've done recently, it's kind of like you've got to listen to it and then figure out how that would apply to your life. These are going to be more directly how do you apply it to your life. So, and I think that I should probably conduct my interviews live on LinkedIn like this, and then save them, and then still publish them as a podcast. I think I should do something like that.
Well, I think what happened, like the way I'm doing this, right? And this is just the easiest way, because I don't like the whole editing thing. That's just way too much work.
Yeah, I know. Maybe I get away with that.
Yeah, there's too much time. That's just a lot of time, right? It's so much. And there's something to be said for live, right? Because sometimes it just adds something to it, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to keep up with the comments because we have a lot of them, but which is beautiful. But what I do is I forward it to my YouTube, because that keeps my permanent library.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also, this one I think is on Twitter actually, which I don't know why I chose Twitter. I've never sent anything to Facebook, so maybe that's why it's not on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've been live all over the place, but I've never been live on Facebook.
Uh-huh.
So like that's a family thing to me, and I don't know really how I feel about that yet. So I'm kind of juggling that one around a little bit.
Right.
I don't know if it's insecurities or I just don't want to hear anything after it.
Focus more of your families on that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like Facebook. I personally don't like groups. Are amazing. I love how they function with groups.
I mostly go to groups. I don't really go to my own thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I want to do more on LinkedIn, because I know that I need to reach more people there. But so you don't have yours published on like iTunes or anything like that?
No.
Yeah.
Not a single one of my lives have ever gone there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I got LinkedIn Live a couple of weeks ago, and I was always doing live straight to YouTube. Like that's what I've been doing since August. And before that, I was jumping on either Annie's live or Gabriel's live
Right.
or everybody else's lives. And I never really wanted to do it for myself, right? I just never wanted to do it for myself.
Mm-hmm.
But I think as I've gone through this transformation, this full transformation, I owe it to myself, right?
Yeah,
I
you're doing it for
learned,
yourself and others. I learn from
right,
every single episode of my podcast. It's a little
right.
selfish. It's okay.
Well, it is, it's selfish, but it's not,
I
right?
know.
Because you have to build yourself up and believe in yourself to a point that you got to know that by doing for yourself, you're truly helping others also.
Mhm.
I spent so much time only doing for others and never wanting my name out there that
Right.
I made this decision that I want my name out there, and I'm still going to do for others, but I'm going to fill my own cup also. You know, I'm going to lift myself up as I lift others up. You know, and that's one of the things that I wrote in the love letter to myself, right? Who Matt Gagnon told me about that one. And that's one of the things I put in there is that it's okay to lift others up if you lift yourself up too, right? And I spent so much of my life only lifting others up, but now today I deserve it. So
You
it's
do.
it's
And
I
the
never
more you lift others up, it lifts you up.
it
Mhm.
does, it really does. Let's get caught up on some comments because now I'm feeling like anxious that they're all just sitting there. So we got Jenny.
Hi, Jenny. I love Jenny.
Jenny's amazing. I told her she has to come on this too.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. The interview with my son is just, you go to my YouTube channel, just the Onward Podcast YouTube channel, and I had somebody help me with like a short 3-minute video just summarizing that episode. It's amazing.
I'm trying to see where now I just lost all the comments.
Yeah, 'cause
There's actually
you have to sit with you. Yeah.
there's a lot of comments here. I'm like, wow, okay. I'm trying to find them now. Oh, okay, here we go. So yeah, Carl. I need to catch up with Carl. I haven't spoken to him yet, but I need to catch up with him soon.
Hi, Carl. Yeah, that is the issue with my kid's dad.
That's
And,
me. I went through all of those. So
yeah.
I've got a laundry list, but that's okay. It's built character.
It helps you know that you're not alone. You know, there's other
Yeah.
people out there. You might look up to somebody. Oh, you know, she's in this high level position. She's got everything. Her life is perfect. No.
Okay, Michelle, can you get her orange
You
juice?
don't shit on me. Yeah, I
Yes.
agree with that. Laura. I spend a lot of time in my life doing should.
And then
Yeah, it's
Jenny.
all self-hating, Jenny. Yeah.
It is. And then we got Laura talking to Jenny. Crying's not bad. I love crying. I don't know if I love crying, but I do a lot of it these days. I'm not quite sure if I love it, but I'm getting there. I know the release is worth it. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why it's called giving.
Or giving. Gotta have him on my show. I had to do an alcoholic.
There you go. Reach out to Emily. Emily's
Reach
amazing.
out, Carl. I'd love to be on your show. I want to get on more podcasts and just, share my story, help others. And because I know that there's I've run into a lot of women, like, so I'm retiring, right? 56. I can retire. I don't have to work. It's awesome. My kids are gone. Who am I? What do I want to do? I don't even know. And so I like helping people with that. I like helping people figure out who they are. What do they like to do? They've been putting everyone and everything else first for so long. They've lost touch with who they are. And they're not the same person that they were when they were 18 or when they started work or before they had kids. So, and it's challenging, but it's just awesome to discover that about yourself.
Definitely. And here's Rhonda. I love Rhonda. Rhonda's one of the most amazing people on the planet.
Hi, Rhonda.
I don't know if you know Rhonda, but you should definitely connect.
I got this book. I haven't finished reading it, but Permission to Feel. I mean, most people, if you ask them, how do you, that's the thing. I told my counselor, I hired a counselor. I said, I want to know how to feel because I don't know how to feel. I can tell you happy, sad, bad, good. I don't know any other words. She'll ask me all the time, how do you feel? I don't know. I know what I think because I'm in my thinking head a lot, but I don't even know what I feel. I don't have a word to describe it. Well, where do you feel it? I don't know. I'm too busy to notice where I feel it in my body. I don't know. Why does that matter? It matters. And this book is, there's a whole bunch of words in here. If you don't know how you're feeling, you can at least look in the beginning and
start self-identifying by pointing.
Loving. Point where you feel. I didn't have any words for feelings.
But it's tough, right? Like I'm 41 years old and I was never told to feel. I was a white male that was overly sensitive, that used to cry all the time, empath, and I always felt everybody else's stuff. It was hard for me to differentiate, which is one of the reasons that drove me to drink in the first place. And I couldn't identify a feeling. I had no clue what they were. Yeah. Like even when I went to rehab at 27, like they hand me this paper every morning with pictures of faces. Can you point to which one you are? And I said, no, I don't even know what you're talking about. My face always looks the same. I'm stoic. Like it just doesn't change. And yes, Carl and Jenny need to connect too.
Yeah. 30 years, Jenny. That is so awesome.
It is. Awesome. I'm at 14 and a half, but I have today. That's what I've realized. It's all about today. Everything in my life is.
Laura, I hope you asked to connect with me too. I looked and saw that I can't follow you. I can only follow you. I can't connect with you, but I'd love to connect with you.
Okay, Laura, you're getting a military order. Go connect with Emily.
You should connect with me.
Yeah.
I know you don't do shoulds, but
yeah. I mean, it's a huge thing, right? Suppressing all your emotions, like.
Well, and no one ever talks about that they cry, that they spent Saturday night crying. I mean, What does that look like? That's got to be bad. You're a bad person if that happens. No, I mean, just sit there and feel it. Because if you don't feel it, like one of my guests said, your feelings go to the basement and they lift weights and they will come out. Like I interviewed that Navy SEAL, John McCaskill. He had a lot of feelings from an operation that he went on where he survived and he felt guilty from that. And the feelings came out at the wrong time and cost him a job.
Yeah. I mean, my dad's 76 years old. I've seen him cry 3 times. When his mother died, when his mother died, when his sister died, and when my mom died. But I think those might have been tears of joy some way. Not judging, but they didn't have the best relationship.
Yeah. No, my mom's 77. I've heard her cry once, never seen her cry.
Right. It's so I just don't understand at what point that feelings just became this stigma that we can't feel, and we are such emotional beings in every sense of the word.
She'll tell you she's fine. She's fine.
Yeah, I'm fine. That's what is that? Effed up, insecure, neurotic.
She got 3 cancer diagnoses in 1 month when she was 60. She's 77. I never saw her cry. But the way she told me was sent me an email. I was pissed off to get an email from my mom about that, but she couldn't pick up the phone and call me. I was at work getting ready to go to a meeting, and here's this email. Do not call me. I have cancer. Okay.
Was it 3 separate emails? Like, did she break it down?
One email. She waited until she got all of them. She had a lump in her breast that she found. They did a lumpectomy. That was cancer. They tested her lymph node, a different kind. And they tested her bone marrow, a different kind.
Wow. That's. I mean, my dad has heart surgeries all the time, right? Like he has chronic heart disease and bad family genes and all that stuff. He takes care of himself, but it doesn't matter. Like he calls me when he gets out of surgery. Oh, I just had surgery today. Like, or he'll tell me the next day. Oh, I just got home from the hospital. I had surgery yesterday. You're hungry now. Okay.
I guess it's just that generation, that age, however, and we have to lead a change to that.
We have to. I mean, it's great that all this EQ stuff is coming out and that people want to talk about EQ. What, Sid? You need your sippy cup that you left in the room. Thank you, Sid. I'm on a live, though, just in case you were wondering, Sid, so the whole world sees.
Hi, Sid.
Seriously. Yeah, being busy, yes. Yes, it's yes. Being busy is definitely a diversion. I'm the king of avoidance through being busy. That's for sure.
Me too. And I used to space on my calendar this year.
And when I used to have downtime, I didn't know what to do with myself. I would open a new company. Like if I got bored, if I got bored, I would open a new company to create, because it was the only way I knew how to channel my emotions was to create stuff. What do you want, Sid? You want toast with butter or jelly? A peanut butter sandwich? Do you want jelly on it? So you want peanut butter and jelly? Two peanut butter and jellies.
I'll have
Okay. Seriously, she's 3 years old, but this is how I get orders from her. You wouldn't believe she couldn't talk when I got her 6 months ago.
What? So for people listening that are like, wow, I can relate with you, Emily, and you, Michael, but where do I even start?
I mean, the first step for me was just simply starting with just simple gratitudes, like finding somebody to help me stay accountable to gratitudes. And then from that, I got introduced to Brene Brown, and I started doing the blame, shame, and guilt work, right? Because even being sober 14 years, I never did the emotional work.
Right.
So it was, Sid, calm down, please, child. I never did the emotional work. So it was, learning that, right? And starting with the blame, shames, and guilts and releasing. I know you want to, Sid. You've told me three times. So it started with that. And then from the blame, shame, and guilt work, I met Sherry Lewick, which I think I introduced you to her also.
Yeah, I've worked with her. Uh-huh.
Yeah. I met her and I did her one-on-one trauma stuff. And then I did the group trauma with her. And like by the time I got done with that, it was just, I started pulling pieces from everywhere. Like I just started intaking book after book after book, audiobooks, because, with the kids, I like putting on the noise canceling headphones and paying attention to audiobooks. It's almost like they don't exist at that moment. So it gives me some space, but that was a big part of it. Right. And like Outwitting the Devil was a huge book for me because it gave me a lot of clarity in my life. It helped me see a lot of things that I didn't notice before in humanity and humans and people and myself. And then I listened to Jay Shetty's book a few times, Live Like a Monk, which is really cool principles on how to take it into the real world. Live Like a Monk was great. Outwitting the Devil will change your outlook on everything. It's a Napoleon Hill book. He wrote it right after he was done with Think and Grow Rich, and it never got published for 70-something years.
Wow.
It was amazing. And like I did the Brene Brown books, Daring Greatly. I've listened to that 9 times, 10 times. I did the one right after that, which I can't think of the name off the top of my head. And I just started inputting information, right? Just getting as much information in my head as I could, and then just turning it into my own ways of doing things that fit me. Force it.
But I'm thinking too, did you have to, like for me, yeah, I have a whole bunch of books. I've ordered so many books, and reading them is good, and talking to people and listening to podcasts. But in order to process it all, you have to have some quiet time. You have to have some time where you can spend alone, and then that's when you get out of your head and your intuition starts to speak to you, or your higher self, or God, or the universe, whatever people want to talk to. But if you're too busy, you can't hear it. So I'm sure you did some of that too. Quiet.
Tons of it. Yeah, tons of it. But with the kids, obviously, that's a little difficult at times.
Yeah, but you get up early and you do it. You make that time for yourself because you know it's important.
And it was a lot of journaling and writing stuff out, like getting a lot of crap out of my head, right? Like years of stuff that's been stuck in my head that I needed to release and let go of. For me, I actually did physical releasing, and I would start, set the pages on fire, because the only way I knew how to, like it went from physically writing it to reading it to burning it, because that was physically how I watched it disappear from it. Right. Maybe I'm a little bit pyro too. That's possible. So maybe that played a role, but it really is about the work and the time. Need to put time in.
I took a lot of notes on how my former husband treated me. And there's all, but when I look back at it, it's like, Emily, what the heck did you do? Why did you stay for 7 years? So you have to, part of healing is acknowledging your role in it. Because I remember once going to the counselor and complaining about him, and then the counselor said, "Okay, when's our next meeting?" This was for getting ready for the divorce. I'm like, I don't know. Why do I need a meeting with you? He's the one that's mean.
Right.
You
Meanwhile,
need
we're
why
sick.
you're putting up with this.
And that's the thing, though. It's the self-awareness also, right? We have to notice our patterns, and that's really where Sherry Lewis came into play, and was help me identify my triggers, my patterns, where I came from, how I got to that point, and what would trigger me, because I would have these amazing emotional, well, I wouldn't say amazing for whoever received them, but like I would do this proverbial word vomiting and emotional vomiting on people, right? Like, how could you not love me? Why didn't you love me enough? Why don't I go above and beyond? And it would turn into these like these the Odyssey, like the Iliads, like just coming out nonstop flowing, because I was so used to burying everything that when it started coming out, it came out like this waterfall, volcano. Sid, I am working on it, but I'm also live. And why do you wait for me to be live to want peanut butter and jelly?
Yeah.
And I don't have a place to put this on a stand, so people stare at my arm at the time.
I burned a lot of those notes I kept, and that didn't quite help me. Because I wasn't doing the inner work at the time that I was burning.
Yeah, but see, I think it's because I was doing everything at once, and I was also going through my new spiritual, my most recent spiritual awakening at the same time too.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was because I was, and the physical, the mental, the meditation. It wasn't one thing. I started doing everything at once.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't just baby step in, because that's not how my mind works.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my mind is like, if you're going to do this, do everything at once. And I'm carrying it for you, Sid. Yes, that is what I'm doing. Okay. Here's life, right? Like, it's a Saturday morning and this is it. And they're still on break, and I'm trying not to show the floor that looks like a train wreck, because they've been home for 13 days. But you know, I mean, it's all part of this, right? And the work is really the most important thing. You've got to dig deep. You've got to get it out, because if you keep holding on to that stuff, you're never going to keep moving. You're never going to move forward. Like, you can have moments of clarity, right? But you'll never have true clarity until you really absorb it all.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, I'm going to try and get caught up on comments again, because there's a pile of them again.
Awesome. Yes. If I'm about aware. Yeah. Yeah.
Conscious alignment. I really do love that. That's awesome. Conscious alignment. It's so powerful.
I came up with alignment, and then I'm like, it's got to be conscious, because I've been listening to my ego for way too long. And
Yes.
I've just started to learn how to listen to my gut and my feelings and my intuition. So that's why I have to be conscious.
And here's Jenny talking about goals, right?
Yeah.
I have a very interesting outlook on goals, which is different to most people. I don't build short-term goals. I have a legacy goal. I'm one of those people that bounces back and forth between many things. And I like being active and having my hands in different industries and just being a part of it and using my connecting and networking and everything to my advantage. So I know my strengths. So what I'm looking to do is elevate humanity through knowledge and understanding. Right? That is my legacy goal. That's what I want to do the day I'm dead. That's what I want people to say about me. So everything in between doesn't matter as much, and I don't put as much pressure on myself for getting something done by this day. But it also keeps me on that focus that this is where I'm going to end up. So whatever steps I take, staying in my and standing into my core values is so important, because that's how I'm going to end up getting there.
And then when opportunities come up that aren't aligned with that, no, that's not going to help my legacy goal. No.
Yeah.
So
it's not worth
maybe
the short term
right away, but just meditate on it or whatever, because maybe you don't see right away that it could help.
Well, and that's the thing. Now you're right. I go straight to meditation and I meditate on it, right? I get very centered, grounded. I visualize what I think that's going to end up looking like, or what it could look like. And my empathic abilities leverage a little bit into that, because I can usually get an intuitive basis on the person that's bringing the opportunity as well.
Yeah.
And I kind of I sit with it a little bit. I'm not in a rush to say yes or no to anything anymore. I'm just not. Like, I don't know when I became patient, but I am now. My aunt, who passed away, she used to say, she always said to me my whole life, patience is a virtue, patience is a virtue, patience is a virtue. And I used to look at her and I'd be like, I don't have it, sorry. And that was it, right? And now people tell me, they're like, you're ridiculously patient. And I'm like, I guess. I don't think about it, so maybe. but it's not something I ever believed that was even possible for me.
Mhm.
Wow, we have a lot of comments. Okay. They're fluid. My core values, conscious is fluid. Yes. It's all fluid, right? Like I
Cons
have my
and science. Cool. I like that. Thanks, Laura.
yes,
Awesome.
yes, Carl. It's different, right? When you realize your core values, it gives you a direction to head in life.
Mhm.
And then you've got to figure out what you're in that fits it and what you're in that doesn't. And
Yeah.
little by little, as you're stepping into your core values, those things remove themselves from your path.
Mhm.
Like I firmly believe that. You don't have to ask people to leave your life, because when you start living who you want to be, they leave on their own because you're not
Right.
serving their purpose anymore.
And the people that you need show up.
Yes, 100%.
Are you an Enneagram 2?
I have no idea what that means.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Like somebody just maybe take a love language test last week. Like I didn't know any of this stuff exists.
What's your love language?
Huh?
What is your love?
Quality time and touch.
Okay.
Like they're 33 and 30%. They're like both in that right range right there.
Uh-huh.
So it's like I didn't even know this stuff existed. Like I don't pay attention to that stuff. I hate tests. So you put a test in front of me, I'm just gonna ignore it. Let's see.
If one's a pleaser, there ends up with an expectation for others to respond in kind. Yeah.
100%.
Girl, look at the comments. I don't meditate one time a day. I'm mindful of my moments throughout the day. Yeah.
It's always about a reframe. It's always about taking time. It's always about centering yourself and grounding yourself before decisions, before anything.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think we need to reframe sacrifices too, right? I've been thinking a lot about this, and I used to say how I sacrifice myself for other people. What I've started doing now is sacrificing things for myself, right? And it's because I want to live in my core values. So if something doesn't fit it, I'm sacrificing that for myself.
Yeah.
If somebody doesn't appreciate my core values, then that's not my fault.
Right.
It's just we all have been conditioned crying is terrible, but I think crying is a form. Yes, 100%. 100%. It is soul cleansing, it's soul purifying, it's releasing, it is physically letting it go. It really is.
Yeah. Yeah. Mine wants just, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. 100%.
And maybe
lot of-
it takes conscious action. Yeah, like you said, signing up for the gym is not enough. Oh yeah, when I first moved to DC for my first job, I signed up for the gym, and I walked by it every day to work, and I didn't get in shape. I guess I realized I had to go in. You actually have to work.
That's the thing, right? Like I kept saying to people, how can I exercise? How can I get in shape? How can I lose weight? How can I do these things when I'm a single father of 1,200 miles from everybody? I have nothing, right? I can't go anywhere. No gyms are open. It's COVID. Then I realized that your own body weight becomes its own resistance if you do things the right way. And that's what I've been doing is just,
Awesome.
and it's 25 minutes a day. And I missed the last 2 days just because my body wanted sleep. And I don't judge myself for that today when I used to get nuts over it. Like
But
it used
you
to drive.
demonstrate to your kids the importance of staying in shape. I mean, you can do push-ups, squats,
You can do knee highs, do leg lifts, you can do everything. Like, I mean,
you can run. I mean, there's stuff that you can do. Yeah.
it just needs to be simple, right? Just to keep it aligned and keep your body moving, especially during COVID.
Right.
Like right now, everything's so. Yes, gratitude flips everything.
Well, plus exercise for me helps me not get depressed. Yeah, I went on a nice walk today, and that's when I was listening to Mary Ellen's interview with Amanda Eller. Sometimes I don't listen to anything. I just try to be in the moment. I learned an exercise from a book I'm reading about like a way to bring yourself back in the moment, because you notice everyone has thoughts that move, but just like do this. Just touch these two fingers together. That's like a reminder. Oh yeah, let me just notice the breeze. Let me just see the birds, instead of walking and thinking about your to-do list.
Yeah. What I do is I blast music in my head so I can't think about anything. It's so loud. It is so loud that I can't think of a single thing. But it gets me to stop, right? It gets my mind to just focus on the music and let everything else go.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and for me, meditating, I listen to meditation music, all different frequencies, depending on my mood. Um, and even after I'm done meditating, I still listen to it for another hour
Mhm.
because as I'm doing my morning routine, as I'm writing my gratitudes, I like listening to it because it puts me in a mindset going forward throughout the day. Yes, Mary Ellen is amazing.
She is. And some of the stuff that you're learning, Michael, you can teach your kids, I don't know, as they
And
get older.
I have been little by little. My 8-year-old, I've had to meditate a few times with me, and his anger has gone way down. Little by little, you know, those things start disappearing. They really do. And I've been showing him that. Now he's just zonked into his iPad that he got for Christmas. So
Mhm.
kind of just giving him his space before school starts tomorrow.
Yeah,
Monday.
Monday. I like this comment, Jenny. You need someone to call you out. Yeah, I know, because I'll be sitting here having a Zoom call with my coach, and then she brings something up, and it might have to do with feelings. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I read a book about that. And I'll go try to grab this book. And she's like, Emily, come back right here. That's my way of distracting myself.
Right. The squirrel.
Tell you what I read about.
Yeah, the squirrel moments where you find that deflection. I get it. I get it. Right. Like it's yes, people need people. We're all connected. We are 100%.
I got to figure out how to make the onward movement also part in LinkedIn. I got to figure that out, but because I know not a lot of people not everybody's on Facebook, but
well, and it's a different audience though because you with your network, right? Because you have that military background and where you came from and most of your business network. There's so many people that probably need to hear what you're spreading, and I think it's such an important.
I work with Jenny, who's been making some comments. We're in this, we're putting on this GovCon Summit, which is a government contracting summit Jenny is in April. And about 6 of us, Russ Barnes, Michael Lejeune, Josh Frank, Jenny, and Eric Wright, we've all written at least 3 chapters of a book. And I think the book is going to be called Becoming a GovCon Expert. And what I was happy about is that one of my chapters, one of it is like tying the Onward podcast, the 3 main tips from the Onward podcast that people have used to overcome adversity. I tie that to government contracting. And then the other chapter is on how to do business with the Navy. But my other chapter is like discovering who you really are, because your authentic self and just the basic start of that, because it's not something they teach in retirement class. They teach you make sure you have enough money and make sure you're living somewhere where you have friends. They don't teach you about the stuff we're talking about.
No, not at all. But they don't teach that in school either, and that needs to be, right?
On your own.
Emily, I got news for you. We're never catching up with all these comments because I can't even. I mean, Sage is out here now. Sage is amazing. Sage Breslin. You should connect with everybody, Sage, please.
Yeah,
if you're not connected with Emily and Jenny,
call.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not connected with Emily and Jenny, also connect Sage, and Rhonda connect with Sage. Kelly Bryant, connect with both of them too. Kelly, please connect with Emily because I think she might need some social media help to get the word out there a little bit.
Yeah, I do have
Michael.
I just haven't used it. I need confidence too. So sometimes
I'll help you. It's all about having an interesting conversation. We could do 3 people, 4 people. Have Jenny come on too. Who cares? Bring Russ on.
We'll do
Bring
it.
Russ. Bring Russ too. I'm in. I love Russ. I got to talk to Russ. I haven't talked to Russ in a while.
He was on my podcast. It was published on Veterans Day.
Yes, I remember you saying that.
He's awesome. And then this week's episode, last week's was with Miha Metlizeski, something like that. He's a failure coach. That's a really good. I'm like, how do people find you? He goes, well, just Google failure coach. I'm the only one there is. And it's awesome. He's talking about how his businesses failed and how he was ready to, end his life. And he turned it around because he realized, wow, if I could accomplish everything I did before the market crashed and everything, if I could accomplish all of that without reaching out to the right people, with all the bad decisions I make, think of what I could do if I made some better decisions. And that is what caused him to not end his life. And he has a different outlook on failure. And that's a really good episode to listen to. He's a failed coach. He wants to start a failure anonymous, like Alcoholics Anonymous, where people.
I'd probably be the second member. I could be his Bob to Bill. Like, I failed so many times, but the way I turn that around now is that it's a perceived failure that's been the best lessons.
Mhm.
Because I've been a millionaire on paper 3 times, homeless 5 times. This time doesn't count because I'm stuck in an Airbnb for 10 months, and I had a house fire too, so that didn't count either in my book. But
Oh my
the other
God.
3 were definitely my fault, 100% my fault that I was homeless. That's perfectly fine. I'll take those fully. But like, I mean, this is the thing. Like, you just got to accept who you are and where you are, right? And the sooner that you accept who you are, the sooner everyone around you will also. And
Mhm.
it's powerful. And I'm telling you, we're never catching up with comments. So I apologize, everybody. I'm not good at comments. I'm just really not. And I hope you guys are all connecting with each other because you guys are all amazing. I don't know who did the one comment because it says LinkedIn user. And when you use StreamYard, it's considered a
Yeah.
third party vendor. So it doesn't show who makes the comment. But I know Michael Richardson, you need to get connected to some of these people. He's a computer programmer. He's unbelievable, great guy. Kelly Bryant, she's amazing, just getting started on LinkedIn, but very close personal friend of mine who's going through her spiritual journey.
See,
Rocco,
now we're connected. We're making a whole bunch of new friends.
that's
And,
it.
let me just read as we end some of the statements from this manifesto. It's like,
Yes,
although we try to improve ourselves, we know we are enough just the way we are. We ask for help and we help others. Um, and we make a positive impact in our communities and all over the world. And we don't need to fit in, we stand out. And we free ourselves from others' judgments and expectations. And perfection is a fairy tale. We reveal and talk about our imperfections, and as a result, we grow. We create space for others. We hear you. We're not alone. We're connected. There's more, but
100%. And I believe every word of that. I think it's an amazing mission, amazing cause. And I will help you get the word out on LinkedIn also
okay.
because I have a large network. We could do this again. We should all go live on your channel, bring everybody in. You
Yeah,
do it.
I
We can
can
do it.
figure it out. I won't be alone.
Yeah, and that's it. And we're never alone, right? Like that's at the end of the day, we're not. And we just got to know that and allow it. So,
And
Emily, yep,
once we can get together and give each other hugs, we're gonna have some live events. We're gonna have
yes,
some live events.
yes, we'll be in person again at some point soon.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
Well,
not all wearing masks.
you too.
Yep, you got to run. So,
I
guys,
don't have
thank you for
anyone
being
here that can make me a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
seriously. Like I'm doing orders during live. Awesome. All right, guys, have a great day. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much for being.
everybody.
Bye.
Oh.